All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome, everybody. Whether you are in the room, whether you are on Zoom, or watching us on YouTube Live, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our Shabbat service with Congregation Shalom. We have a special treat tonight. We have Yonatan and Shani, who are here as our Shinshinim, our Israel emissaries, who are going to speak with us this evening. So you don't have to listen to me all night. And we get to listen to Yonatan and Shani. We are going to begin our Shabbat worship on the back of our Shabbat bulletin, which I am about to put in the chat for those of you on Zoom. Which I'm fairly certain you all know by now. Anyway, Hine Matov. There we go. Hine Matov Umanaim Shevekulanu Yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanaim shevekulanu yachad. Hine matov umanaim shevekulanu yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Hine matov umanaim shevekulanu yachad. Hine matov umanaim shevekulanu yachad. Shevekulanu yachad. We continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. You'll find it on pages 2 and 3 in our Shabbat only Siddur, pages 120 and 121 if you have the weekday Shabbat and festival Siddur, furthermore now known as the Big Book. So the Big Book is 120, 121, pages 2 and 3 in the Siddur here in the room. Would somebody like to light the Shabbat candles this evening? Thank you, Dorothy. Not quite.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Dorothy. Oh. Trip candle.
The wick has burned all the way down. There's no wick.
Ooh.
I'm not sure it's gonna stay lit. You have another candle? I tried to
No,
move
we'll
the
just
way.
have it. We'll just leave
No
it.
wick.
We've got one that's fine. We continue on page 9, page 127 in the big book. Let's read together at the bottom of the page. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Lecha Dodi can be found on pages 20 in the weekly Siddur and page 138 in the big book. As always, we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we reach verse 9, we rise and face the rear of the sanctuary to welcome the Sabbath bride. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet ve'lutchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orek umi ori. Daberi, kavod Adonai alayim nikla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Materet bala, gam besimcha ubetzohola, tochem unei am segula, boi chala, lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kabela. Shabbat, Yekabela. We turn to page 26 for the Chatzi Kaddish, page 144 in the big book. Yitkadav yikadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyom echon, ub'chayedecho beit Yisrael, ba'agala, uvizman kariv, v'imei mevarach le'olam li'amei amaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalal Shemei dekudesha brichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran biyama v'meru amen. We turn to page 28, 146 in the big book, and we rise for the Baruch Hu and remain standing as able through the Shema. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la. We continue on page 30, 148 in the big book. Let's read together in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishane itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom mevi layla umavdil ben yom uvein Adonai tzvaot shemo El Chai Tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Put your finger in page 34, 152 in the big book, and turn to page 373, 617 in the big book. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Page 34, 152 in the big book. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 seated. And we continue together on page 36, 154 in the Big Book. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Page 39, let's read responsively in the middle of the page. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Page 40, 158 in the Big Book. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamoch ba'elim Adonai, mi chamoch nehtar b'chodesh, norah tehilot osei feleh, norah tehilot osei feleh. Malechutecha ra'u banecha, okei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu v'yamru, ze'eli anu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 43, 161 in the Big Book. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions and to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. page 44, 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. We turn to page 46, 164 in the big book, and as able, we rise for the tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal. Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melach memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We are seated. And we turn to page 57, page 175 in the big book. Let's read together. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. Page 60. 178 in the big book. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Atu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Lechol HaShalom, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We continue in silent reflection and prayer using the words on the following pages or those that flow from our hearts. Page 62, 180 in the big book. Oh, say shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. Oh, say I don't believe we have any birthdays this Shabbat, am I correct? Do we have an anniversary this Shabbat?
It's ours, but John is outside.
Well, if you want to do a blessing next week, we can do that.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome. We continue then on page 253. Page 253, as we think of those who are in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. Misha Berach, Avotenu v'Imotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim. Patty Baker, Marty Boyle, Isaac Cohen, Sarah Cohen, Bruce Dalby, Carolyn Dowlin, Stuart Dowlin, Joseph Drezick, Wendy Drezick, Vito Frescas, Vincent Guzman, Heidi Heichman, Kathy Hassenlop, Melanie Hudson, Jana Lesser, Arthur McLeod, September McLeod, Mike McNerney, Carol Miller, Marge Muldoon, Commuter, Robin Nelson, Charlotte Renfro, John Robertson, Pamela Roberto, Bruce Schlossberg, Shimshon ben Avraham V'Sarah, Betty Seidman, Jennifer Simlin, April Singer, Mike Stern, Maureen Sullivan, Emilio Vasquez, Kay Williams, Betsy Winokur, and Valerie Zuckman. Are there others for whom we are praying for healing this Shabbat? We'll start first in the room. Sandra?
Amy Hammond and Tom McNish.
Thank you. Lacey?
Yana Martinez and Hannah.
Thank you. Anybody on Zoom? Eileen?
Maureen Fribley, Hank Howlett, and Jerry Grant. Thank you.
Anybody else on Zoom? For those whom we've named and those we name in our hearts, we continue. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem, L'Hachalimam, U'L'Rapotam, U'L'Hachazikam, V'Yishlach Lahem Mehera Refuah, Refuah Shleima Min HaShamayim, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, Hashta Be'agala V'Zman Kariv, V'Nomar. Amen. And we continue together with the Misha Berach that we sing. It is my pleasure now to call on Shani and Yonatan to share some remarks, some thoughts, reflections on their time here in San Antonio. Yep.
All right.
If you come right up here, then people on Zoom can see you too.
Okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to meet you and get to see your service. Very special.
Yeah, my name is Yonatan.
As you said.
What? Oh, yeah. And we are, like me and Shani are together in this program called Shin Shinim, which Shin Shin is like an abbreviation for Shnat Sherut, which basically means service year. It is a special program that we're allowed to do before we join the military in Israel, where we can volunteer with many different organizations, and we are volunteering in the Jewish community here in San Antonio for the year.
So the Jewish Agency is the organization that sent us. They have the main point of this organization is to connect Jews all over the world in the diaspora to Israel, to the country, to the state, to the people. And so what we are aiming to do is kind of create meaningful connections so that we mostly work with younger kids so that kids can, have a face in their mind when they think of Israel and have someone that they know, like, oh, I know a person from Israel, and get to meet us and get to hear what Jewish is like for us in Israel and what our holidays look like, our Shabbat looks like, our day-to-day lives, which is not so different from them, and really get to see that at the end of the day we're all people, and we all have something in common. And I think any questions, if you guys have them. Did you understand what the point of it? If you have anything you would like to ask, Zoom as well. That's pretty much it. We've been here since August for almost 10 months now, and it's been great.
Yeah, we got to volunteer with most of the different, or if not all of the different organizations, Jewish organizations in town, and it's been awesome.
Educational, I think, like most
Jewish
organizations that have a program of education of some kind: school, preschool, Sunday schools, after schools,
youth movements.
Yeah, all of them, all of them that we know of. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
What part of Israel are you from?
I'm from a small town in Israel called Atlit. It's the north part of Israel, by Haifa, if someone knows it. It's pretty special. It's a place where the ships from Europe came after World War II. There's a special campsite there that held all the people who came into Israel, and it's just a really nice, pretty town right on the beach. So I think that's what I miss most about here, but yeah, that's where I'm from.
I'm from a small city next to Tel Aviv, kind of like next to the airport, and there's nothing really special about it. It's called Yehud. It's a nice place, quiet city. Pretty much it.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is a lot of new bodies and kind of anti-Semitism here in America. Much of it is masquerading simply as criticism of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Does that have effect on you guys in Israel?
Well, any type of anti-Semitism has a great effect on Israel. Rather than, just the feeling of our people, it can have an effect on the security, like Homeland Security. Obviously, a lot of people around the world, and by their own right, believe that Israel should not be the Jewish state and should not be a established state at all. And so that's a form of anti-Semitism, because disregarding Israel can be a lot of the time borrowed on from disregarding the Jewish people and really being anti-Semitic. And so of course it has an effect. I think it's just you have to choose to turn on the light other than fight the darkness with more darkness. And so that's, I think, a big part of why we're here. We're here to spread happiness within the Jewish people and share our joy of being Israelis and being Jewish, and not necessarily, comment on everybody who say bad things. Because
I'm very happy to see.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anything you guys are interested in hearing?
So once you finish this program,
Mm-hmm.
you go back and you start your military
Right.
service?
Yes.
Yeah,
which
mandatory.
is for how many years?
Well, boys are supposed to do 3 and girls are supposed to do 2, but a lot of girls sign on for 3 as well. I'm gonna do 3 as well, and so that's it. I mean, I don't know if that is interesting, but this program is really big. We are the first Shinshim in San Antonio, but all around the world, this program has been working for many, many years. There are places with bigger Jewish communities that have, I mean, Toronto has 18 Shinshinim, LA has 13, London has what, 11,
10,
13?
yeah.
There's a lot of places that have much, much more of us. And there's almost 200 emissaries like us all around the world that, like we said, kind of just go and try and spread joy around the title, the name Israel, and what it means to any other Jewish person around the world.
And of course, bring that much needed connection of Israel to the Jewish communities.
Yeah.
Have you had an opportunity to talk with college students, with Jewish college students? while
Yeah.
you're here?
Yes,
We work with Hillel.
Hillel a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also were in part of their big event, Israel Block Party, which was very, very interesting and very fun. And we got to talk to college students who were not Jewish and explain to them about Israel. And it was
We each were in charge of a station. I was in charge of humanitarian aid, and Jonathan was in charge of innovation. And kind of just share a little bit more about what makes Israel special, other than being the only Jewish state.
We got to educate a lot of people about
Yeah, it was really interesting. Any other questions?
Do you have any fears in Israel that you feel on a daily basis?
Not really.
I mean,
when the like security of Israel is a bit more unbalanced and tension rises and there's rockets, we all have like shelters in our houses. It's very rare that someone like dies. Like it's maybe once every few years from like a rocket. Of course, terrorism is scary, but we also have the idea of protecting us and like officers and.
I think that we are used to something a little different than life here. I would think that maybe if people from used to certain life would go to Israel, they might be a little more scared. But growing up with it and hearing it on the news and knowing that we really do, any house that's built in Israel has a built-in shelter into the house, which is, for us is like so usual. It's really the regular way that we live. And I think we're just grateful to be at the right place at the right time and not get into any trouble. And I mean, I feel completely safe in Israel more than I do a lot of other places around the world. So I know that even though there's people wanting to harm us, there's also many, many, many people who want to keep us safe. And I think it's something that you feel throughout. Also, the citizens, people in Israel are very helpful to each other. I mean, even with the little tiny things of like neighbors being close, it's a feeling of like, I think, some kind of brotherhood, sisterhood, that we're all going through whatever Israel is going through at the moment. There's always something.
We're always united.
Yeah.
Thank you.
San Antonio is a very diverse city, so I'd like to know what's one cultural thing that you really have been interested in or shocked by, and what's something you're going to take back with you to Israel that you learned here?
So Israel is very, very far away from Latin America. And I mean, we do have some foods, but I mean, being here, I've been exposed to so much more, and I think it's such a beautiful culture, and I've tried foods that I would love to be able to make at home in Israel for my family, and even caught on. I've lived with a lot of Hispanic families throughout my time here, so I even caught on some Spanish, which I really, really think is a beautiful language. I would love to learn it really well. I'm trying. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have get to experience that if I wasn't here. I think it's very unique to San Antonio, and just the whole mixture, like you said, diversity is really beautiful.
Should go back with a good cookbook.
Yeah.
I know,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah, Shani really took the words out of my mouth, exactly what I was going to say. I started learning Spanish here from a lot of different families, and we got to try amazing, amazing food.
We have some restaurants in Israel, but they're not they're not so much up to date. I think it's like people who've been during their early years of life, maybe traveling and like took some recipes, brought them to Israel, but things have gotten even better since then. So, yeah. Anything else?
Do you get to choose a job while you're in the military?
Not really.
Not really. It's a bit of a complicated process. You get your first letter from the military when you turn 16. And you go through this process of different tests, physical and intelligent wise, and certain, like at the end of it, kind of have different opportunities open up to you. The girls can rate them, not having that necessarily be what they would get, but have a place to put in their opinion of what they want to do. And then the Army tries to match what you get to what you want. It doesn't always work, but there's so many people in the Army that sometimes we have this saying, if they need a wheel, I'm a wheel. Like, whatever they need us for, we're there to do it. I mean, we're not here to serve ourselves, we're here to serve the country. So not really, but maybe a little bit. We can ask for something and hope that we're lucky to get it.
If you ask them enough times, they'll give in eventually.
Yeah. Some kids work really hard to send the letters every day. If they really want a specific job, if you batter them enough about it, then they understand that you're passionate about it, and probably it'll be good to put you in a job you're passionate about because you'll do a better job.
Yeah.
How does your school system work?
In which way?
Well, in other words, do you have a kindergarten and first grade?
Yeah. We don't so much have like a kindergarten and preschool is one place. So a lot of the times here, kindergarten would be in the elementary already. So I think that's a difference in Israel. But other than that, I mean, we have preschool, kindergarten, and then elementary school is to the sixth grade. Not like here that it's 5th grade, and 6th grade is already middle school. So we have 6 years of elementary school, 3 years of middle school, and then 3 years of high school. Not 4 like here. We don't have freshman, sophomore type things. We have Yud, Yud Aleph, Yud Bet, which is
and then for high school you can like the system in high school is a bit different than here. All of our finals are like standardized tests, and also you can choose like sort of like a major for your high school. So you can choose like 2 subjects that you really want to be interested in. For example, I chose like cybersecurity and physics and like
physics and medicine.
Yeah, and then we study that, like those are like main subjects we study through.
Kind of like a college type situation, but not really.
Yeah.
The high school really is a little different because we don't work in high school to get into a college. Because college and university comes for us way later in life. Most Israelis graduate high school right into the military or to one of these programs and then the military. And once they're done with the military, after giving so many years to the country, most people feel like they need to give a little bit back to themselves and kind of travel. We have something called the Big Trip in Israel, Atiura Gadol, which a lot of young Israelis that just got out of the army go on, either to Asia or South America, for 3 months to a year and a half usually. This big trip takes, depends on the person. And when they go back, they kind of start thinking what I want to learn. They kind of have to find themselves and learn through travel what they really are passionate about, and then they commit into a major at a university, unlike here.
Yeah,
so
usually
it's
people
different.
will start studying in university or college at age like 24.
24 to 26 is like the ages when usually people really start learning, so very, very late compared to here. But I think it's just a different mindset. I think in America, a lot of people have a mindset of success at a younger age was like, this is how I'm gonna fulfill myself and get to where I wanna be. And Israelis like to take the time and live life and see what happens, and if I'll be successful at a later age, that doesn't make me less successful, but to each their own. And
That's a better point.
I mean, I think so, but we are also with the mindset of Israelis, so we don't really know what drives people here to, it's society, it's different. We can't blame it on anybody. Yeah.
Do you all do any folk dancing in school or in your communities back at home? You,
In elementary school, I remember we had like folk
We have a class
dancing.
in elementary school. I did that too.
Yeah, until like probably 4th grade or something, and then just kind of.
So I'm from a small town. It's a yeshuv, not a kibbutz, if you know what a kibbutz is. But most of the towns around me are kibbutzim. In kibbutzim, there's really special dancing during holidays, mostly Shavuot, where everybody wears white and have flowers in their hair, and they do the really special like Israeli folk dancing. Also, my grandparents established a kibbutz in the Negev, so like most of my family lives there on my dad's side. So we do dance, but there's also different types. I mean, there's youth groups that have special dancing. There's folk dancing of the kibbutzim or of the kids at elementary school that learn it. Everybody has a bit of a different style, but it's mostly understanding. Israelis love to dance. Anytime they love to party, they love to dance, they love to be happy. I mean, if you go to Israel, you'll find someone dancing somewhere for sure. Yeah.
We will have the opportunity to chat more while we're eating dinner. So
Sure.
thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
thank you.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Dave, do you have some announcements for us?
Welcome, everybody. Hello to the folks on Zoom. Hi there. Richard, Sue, you're there somewhere? Okay. Hi, Elaine. Welcome to our guests. Pleasure to have you with us, and we'll look forward to talking with you when we sit down to eat. One question that came to my mind: have you guys gotten around to buying cowboy hats yet?
I'm waiting, I think, for like my last week here.
Hmm.
Same thing. Have to buy like 10.
And then I'll get it.
Okay.
So
Okay. It's a rule. It's a rule. They check you at the airport to make sure you got one before they let you leave.
checklist.
Okay. Coming up. Okay. Tomorrow, there is a Pride River Parade at the Riverwalk. As I understand it, 6:30 p.m. and it's Museum of Art.
Right behind the Museum of Art, on the other side of the river.
Okay. That's the rendezvous spot.
You pass a restaurant called Elsewhere.
Yeah. On Sunday, annual meeting. Really need as many people as we can. We need 50% of the membership for a quota, or for a quorum. And this is not like, a Friday night where, if we're a little short, I can call to a butcher shop, they'll send over a filet mignon. So, hopefully everybody will be there. If you know somebody who really, really would like to get there but can't, I think we've been discussing the possibility of some
Right.
possible Zoom arrangements for specific cases where we got something going on. Okay. Wednesdays, Lisa's holding forth on spiritual practices for real life. This Wednesday's was excellent. Coming up is a discussion of the distinction between religious versus spiritual. Spiritual? Yeah, I get it out. This is a distinction I never quite understood exactly.
Hopefully you'll understand it a
Yeah.
little bit better.
For
after
the way
Wednesday.
growing up, I said, you're not religious, you're spiritual. Yeah, that means I pay dues, but I don't go to services. I think there's probably a little more to it than that, but yeah. Okay. On June 25th, it's a Sunday, Holocaust Memorial Museum. We're expected 1 to 2:30 p.m. I've been there once or twice. Very nice little museum, not exactly, New York or something like that, but they do a very good job. Okay, and the only other thing I see here is Hebrew Free Loan Association does offer interest-free loans. So if you call them, ask them for a loan, they will not have any interest. So, bye-bye.
I want to comment on the visit to the Holocaust Museum. Leslie Met, who's the director, has arranged for a guest speaker, a second-generation Holocaust survivor, and members of our congregation and friends are welcome. Please do let people know and plan to join us that day. We are going to continue with the concluding portion of our service, beginning with Aleinu L'Shabeach, which you will find at the top of page 283, 587 in the Big Book. As able, we rise. Aleinu L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol, Lateit Gedula Liotzer Breshit, Shehu Sam Chelkeinu Liached Et Shemo, Vegor Aleinu Lehamlich Malchuto, Va'anachnu Koreim, Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 287. Ve'ne'emar ve'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yehi Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Page 295, 599 in the Big Book. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. This Shabbat, we remember in the period of Shiva, Rhoda Levine, dear friend of Maury and me, Mary Gustino, grandmother of Kim Martinez. We also remember observing the Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death, Robert Singer, father of April Singer, Maurice Goldstein, grandfather of Maury Goldstein. We remember 10 people who perished in the Holocaust: Minna Bardbor, Scheindel Rachel Blumenson, Johanna Bodenheimer, Annalise Beretz, Johanna Berkeley, Marianne Abrahamson, Regina Arbaid, Flora Ash, Marie Anna Adelar, and Reichen Altman. Are there others who are observing a Yahrzeit or remembering somebody for Kaddish this Shabbat? We'll start first in the room. Anybody on Zoom? Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing, as we turn to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294, 598 in the Big Book. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon u'b'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ulomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom mimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens help us to make peace here on earth and send peace to all who are bereaved, as we say, amen. We are going to conclude as we sort of move into the dinner phase with Shalom Aleichem, which you will find on page 323 in the Shabbat prayer book. You will find it on page 627 in the big book. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who would like to lead us in the Kiddush this evening?
Anna, will you pass out the wine?
All right. Kiddush can be found on page 5.
Wine is purple, juicy.
Page 5 in the weekly Siddur, 123 in the big book. Adam.
Yes, the resident wino needs her wine.
Engrossed in my role of.
Go.
I actually listen to everybody.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lemase bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim, Ki banu v'charta, Yotanu Kidashta, Mikol Hamim, B'Shabbat Kodshecha, V'Yahava Uratzon, Inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
Hermetically sealed.
There we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz b'tei avon. Turn off the live stream.